Good morning. So I'm on the live feed where people that don't subscribe to my channel can see me. So you're probably, if you subscribe to my channel, you're probably not getting a notification. And that is exactly why. So if you're seeing this and you subscribe to my channel, I know it can be confusing because these are new things to YouTube. So if you're joining my replay, I hope that you'll hashtag replay. I'm going to allow some people to join. So go grab your coffee. Go do what you need to do. Go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do. I need to let these people know who their Aunt Judy is. So you might hear some stories that you've heard before. Well, it poured down rain yesterday. It's not raining, but everything's soaking wet this morning. I'm getting ready. Good morning. Oh, did you get a notification? I just told everybody they're not getting it. I said, if you're watching my replay, you're not getting notifications because I'm in the feed trail. You did? Am I in the feed? Well, Brenda's here too. Y'all, it's so hard to understand how this daggum works. I was hoping to be in the feed today to talk to new people about... Brenda, you got a notification too? Here I am telling people, if you didn't get a notification, it's because blah, 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 blah. And then y'all got notifications. That's so crazy. Isn't that crazy, Kayla? My hair is not doing good today. I decided to be Pebbles again today. I don't know. Can y'all give me just a second while I go turn the ceiling fan on because I'm in a heat wave. Hang on. How are y'all? Ugh, what's up with my throat? How are y'all this morning? I didn't know if Jason and Brooke were going live this morning, but I thought that I would go live. Well, Jane got a notification too. Jeez. I guess YouTube is now... Okay, so like prior to today... Wow, Heidi. So prior to today, YouTube wasn't sending notifications when I turned my phone like this. But apparently today they are. Wow. I guess they're working out the kinks. As I learned how they're handling things, you know, the past couple of weeks, I've been kind of like trying to figure everything out. And, what is that? I'm doing better today. Hey, Rhonda. Oh, you got a notification while I'm watching a video? Yeah, YouTube is getting together. I love me some YouTube, is all I got to say. YouTube is so much better than any other platform out there. Just saying. User-friendly. Definitely. What is that? Yesterday was kind of a bad day for me. But I made the best of it. I just have a lot going on with Larry, Shane, the animals, with everything. So, but I did my best to handle it the best way I could. Y'all saw me acting a fool. You know what? You know what's so funny is I went back and watched my shorts. I look like this old lady that don't know how to dance. And that's all right because, you know, I laugh because, you know, like a lot of people that subscribe to my channel are like 45, 55, 65, around that age and older. Like, y'all get me. Like, when you get older, your body doesn't quite move like it used to. Like, my hand, I have this, I haven't talked about it, but I still have this sciatic nerve pain. But I don't feel it a lot because I'm standing up. So as long as I'm standing up, I'm in no pain at all. Like sitting right here, I'm sitting on my little mat and I'm in no pain. But the biggest pain is when I start driving. And that's when it's like excruciating pain, nerve pain going all the way down the back of my leg. Well, I'm finding that when I act a fool and start dancing on these shorts, it sort of pulls my hamstring. I'm like, this is, if you're around my age or older, you get me. But I'm like, this is ridiculous that I can't even dance without pulling a hamstring. You know what I'm saying? So like my hamstrings are like super tight, and I think it's from my lower back, because I do have a lot of lower back pain with that sciatic nerve, because my sciatic nerve pain is coming from my lower back. So it's like I'm not as flexible as I usually am. And I'm like, God, I cannot do my hair this morning. But I'm laughing because I watched the videos and Shane was like, what happened when I was in Lowe's the other day? Well, it was yesterday. I was in Lowe's yesterday, and I was like, all day long, I was straight up in the dumps, okay? Just straight up in the dumps. So I was trying to dance every moment I got, I was trying to dance, right? To try to get myself pumped up and get in a good mood and all this stuff. And so Shane goes, I need to go to Lowe's. And I said, okay. So we went to Lowe's, and I was like, I'm fixing to tear it up right here in the middle of the park. And the reason, I'm going to tell you something. I want to see if y'all find this. Do y'all find that when you tell people your weaknesses, then they use your weaknesses against you? You know what I'm talking about? So I had said in one of my lives, taking my glasses off, I had said in one of my lives this week that I'm up and down and it's a potluck with me. You never know what you're going to get when I go live. I said all this, so then someone used it against me and said I was up and down all the time. So then I said, I'm fixing to tear up a rug right here in the middle of dadgum Lowe's. I'm fixing to dance in the middle of Pawpaw. Who's Pawpaw? Anyway, I'm gonna dance. Well, Shane went to get some screws. So me and Shane were not together when I did that little dance, and I thought he's gonna come around. Tony. I thought, here I am in the middle of Lowe's dancing to Upside Down, You're Turning Me, and Shane's going to come around the corner and think I have flipped my lid. And I have totally flipped my lid, but I decided to use humor around someone saying that I was up and down. Because I was like, upside down, you're turning me. Because the first thing that came to my mind, because again, yesterday was a really bad day for me. I was trying to dance every opportunity I got. Like physically dance. Not dance in my head, but actually physically dance. Because sometimes when it's a really bad day, when it's like I'm just a total train wreck, I have to physically make myself dance. Not just dance in my head, but physically dance. And so I was in Lowe's doing that. And do you know that as I was in the aisle dancing, do you know that not one person saw me do that? Is that not nuts? I was like, someone's going to walk down this aisle and see me dancing to Upside Down, because the music plays out while I'm doing that. So I was like, someone's going to walk around the corner and they're either going to recognize me or they're going to, And they're going to think I flipped my lid. And I have. So, I told you, that we were donating our eggs. I'm about out of makeup. Oh yeah, the security camera. Oh, would you not go, Aunt Judy's on aisle 6, tearing into pieces. If anybody wants to join her in concert. Anyway, so I talked to the people that we're donating our eggs to, and I was going to tell you what I did not know. Okay, they're a nonprofit organization here in Coleman. And when I talked to him yesterday about setting up a time for him, we're going to donate all our eggs to them. We've donated to them before. I just haven't set up where they continuously come once a week. I just kind of randomly call them and say, we got plenty of eggs if you want to come get them. So, this organization feeds, are you ready for this? 900 people they feed a month in Coleman. I was shocked. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we don't realize what all goes on around us. Since I've had this farm and started giving back, I didn't even know there was an orphanage in Coleman. I had no clue. There is a whole street called Child Haven here in Coleman, and the whole entire street is houses with orphans in it. And I was like, I don't know, in my head, you know how you watch these documentaries on TV about orphans or people that go hungry on the street. You don't really think about it like you think it's other places. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for you to sit and process that your next door neighbor may be starving. Because you see them out, you know what I mean? Or if they have kids and maybe they're a single mom and you have no idea that those kids might not get Christmas presents because you think that's not close to home. Those things, people not being starving and not having groceries, you think that's nowhere near you. You think that happens in Africa or Ethiopia or, things like that. You don't think it's your next door neighbor. You know what I'm saying? And when I got on the phone with him, I said, okay, I know you're the carrying company. I know a little bit about your organization. I know that you're a nonprofit. I know that you feed the needy. And so I said, tell me more of what I'm donating to. Tell me more about your organization. And when he told me that they feed 900 families a month, I nearly fell out. I was like, there's 900 families that are starving in Coleman? Seriously? I need to reach out more because I have on my blinders. It's hard, like I said, it's hard for us to see that because we think things like that don't happen near us. You know what I'm saying? And so, I sit here and think about my neighbors or, and I have let me go to here. So my brother and his wife have adopted 2 kids from China. And both of those kids had a heart condition, okay? Those kids, let's see, Fisher was, I think, 2, and Journey Mae was 3. So my niece and nephew are from China. As soon as they got to the United States, both of them had to have open heart surgery or they were going to die. Both of them had their hearts on the opposite side. So your heart's on your left side. My niece and nephew, their hearts are on their right side. So they had to have open heart surgery. And before my brother adopted them, they told them they may not live to be teenagers or they may not live to be adults, or, like, how it's like sometimes if you have a child that's born and they kind of tell you that there's a disability and they're not going to make it. And then they make it to be 100 years old and you're like, well, my child just proved them wrong. So it's like, you sit here and you think about like people that adopt from other countries. And I'm going to be honest with you. In my brain, when my brother told me that he was going to adopt from China, I was like, why are we adopting from other countries? Why are we not adopting in our own country? Like, why, you know what I mean? Like, really, Tammy? I thought in my head, you know what? I'm going to tell y'all something. When you speak from your heart and someone distracts you, you know what I mean? It's like, and I don't even see well, and I saw that. It's like people come up, but this is what happens when you go in the live scroll and you don't have subscribers. You get psychos, right? So like people come on here and try to distract your brain, and it works. So let me try to regroup. So give me just a minute. So in my head, when my brother was adopting, I was like, why are we, like when you think about people giving to other countries and stuff like that, you just kind of wonder, like, why don't we stay in our own country and help our own country? But then I realized that when I got my niece and nephew, I rethought my process of thinking that way. I really did. My brother and my sister-in-law saved their life. And to this day, probably once a month, my brother or sister-in-law has to take my nephew to the ER to shock him to get his heart back in rhythm. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And don't keep in mind that an adoption process is about $50,000 plus. So like you pay $50,000 plus to rescue a child that may or may not make it. My nephew and my niece are thriving. There has been my nephew just recently, everything was normal and then he just fell out. It was awful. So, like, it is kind of a touch and go, but, like, the people behind adopting kids with disabilities like that, to me, my brother and my sister-in-law are heroes. Because I think it takes a special family to adopt like that. I think it's wonderful. But anyway, I just didn't realize that right here in Coleman, there's 900 families that need to be fed. And I'm so thankful that my girls, these hens, I'm getting probably 3 to 4 dozen eggs a day. So I'm so thankful that my girls are laying so well that we can help feed these families in Coleman. They also, let me just say this. If you're joining me and you're wondering who I am, maybe I should introduce myself. Because I probably look like this psycho that's trying to sell makeup. Probably look like that if you don't know who I am. I'm not selling makeup. Don't follow me for makeup tips. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm an old lady that still puts on her makeup. Like, I don't do the new things. I don't use contouring, and I'm not selling makeup. My name is Judy. I own a petting zoo. I say it's a petting zoo. It is a petting zoo, but it's so much more than just a petting zoo. It's called a petting zoo because when you go out there to try to figure out your business slices, like, who are you? What do you do for a living? And I'm like, I don't really know how to explain it. So they put it under petting zoo. So I'm basically a petting zoo, and I open my farm up for the public. The public comes on the weekends. So people come and tour my farm on the weekends, and what I teach is my animals are not separated by fences. Now, my chickens and stuff like that are in one side, and then my big animals are in another. So I don't separate my big animals by fences. And so when people come to tour my farm, they begin to learn that my dream was to live in the middle of New York. I am a city girl and never wanted a chicken, a duck, a pig, a donkey a day in my life. That was never my goal. My entire life, I wanted to live in the slap dab middle of New York. I wanted a fast-paced life. I dreamt of that. I did. Like when I would go to New York, I would be in heaven. Like I loved the lights and the action and the dancing and the theater shows and all that thing. Like I could just dream of doing all that. And I never made it to New York. Okay. So God obviously had other plans for me. So I met my husband now. We've been together for 9 years, and he is a country bumpkin. Okay. Like he is hunting for his food, living off the grid. He would go without power. We would take baths in the creek. Like he is a totally country bumpkin, okay? And so we are total opposites, because when I met him, I was a frilly girl. I was in business sales. I sold wireless data to hospitals and doctors for a long time. And when I met him, I moved to Stapleton, which is in Gulf Shores, which is South Alabama. So I moved 5 hours away. So my life totally changed. And when we got to Stapleton, he did not want me to work. I am not a stay-at-home person. I am not. I have worked 2 jobs my entire life. And when we moved to Stapleton, part of my 2 jobs that I worked, I was in sales, but I also was a aerobic instructor for roughly 28 years. So that was my passion and my love, was aerobics and fitness. And I was a personal trainer, and I used to teach all over. I used to teach at the hospital. I taught prenatal classes. I taught classes for arthritis and fibromyalgia patients. I taught in a therapy pool. I taught stroller classes for new moms to help them get their weight off. I taught kickboxing, step aerobics, resistable. Even taught a treadmill class. I taught spinning, Pilates, yoga. There wasn't much that I did not teach. I was diverse in the fitness. I also was the group fitness instructor for Gold's Gym for 10 years. So I was in charge of hiring and training new employees to teach classes and so forth. So I was diverse. I'm not a stay-at-home person. I'm a go person. Remember, I wanted to live in the middle of New York. So my life totally changed when I met my husband, and my husband got transferred here to Coleman, and I didn't know anyone. And I started caregiving with my stepdad. And so when that happens, when you become a caregiver, you can't really leave the house a lot with your friends and go out to eat and intertwine with people and meet new people, because you're pretty much homebound. So my husband suggested us getting chickens. And with me not being a country girl, I didn't care about having no chickens. I am not playing in chicken poop. Like, I didn't even really, the only t-shirts that I owned was t-shirts to go to the gym. I I was so frilly that, like, I can remember when my kids played baseball, I would go to the ballpark, like, dressed up. Like, all the other moms were in ball caps and t-shirts, and I was not like that. I was a frilly girl. I had my hair done. I had it all put together. That's just who I was. And so we moved here. My husband suggested getting chickens. And what do we want a chicken for? Like, what are we doing? And he wanted fresh farm eggs. And I said, I'm not eating an egg that comes out of a chicken. I'm not doing that. That's disgusting. I mean, do you know they come out of their butts? Like, I am not eating an egg that comes out of a chicken's butt. No, that's disgusting. So that's how citified I was, okay? And I'm being serious. So at that point is when I said, okay, I'll get chickens. Well, in the beginning, I fight depression. And so the hardest part about me fighting depression is mornings. It's hard for me to get up. It's hard for me to get going. I wake up every morning on the struggle bus. So it was really hard for me in the mornings to do that. Well, Shane would get up and do the chickens. And I was so thankful because I didn't really want these chickens. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad he's doing them because I don't really care about them. But then as time went on, I noticed my dad was naming the chickens. So it was helping him. And it got to the point where I didn't like the way Shane was doing the chickens. He didn't know what the crap he was doing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was like, because like when he would leave to go to work, you know, I would take over. And so it got to the point where he would just open the chicken coops and he wouldn't feed them and give them water. And I was like, what? That ain't farm chores in the morning. But he was in a hurry because he was having to go to work. And he had to be at work at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And here I was laid up in the bed till 10, 11 o'clock. So it got to the point where I wanted to start changing my life. I hated that I slept late. I felt like a loser. I felt embarrassed about it, that I couldn't get out of the bed. And I wanted to be on my best behavior for my husband. So I wrote down things that I wanted to change about myself. And I knew in order to find wholeness and happiness, I was going to have to work on me. I was going to have to get my butt out of the bed and find a purpose in my life, is basically what I did. So I realized through a lot of counseling, in order to find healing, you have to work on balance. You have to work on yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So the first thing I did was work on myself mentally. And so, hang on. So I worked on myself mentally, and then I decided to start fasting my sleep in the morning and get up and read the Bible, because I wanted to read the Bible all the way through before I was 50 years old. I'd never read the Bible all the way through. So I started fasting my sleep. And in the beginning, it was difficult because I was tired. When you're used to getting up at 11 o'clock and you're up at 5 o'clock, it's a big difference. But the more that I started reading the Bible, when I first started reading it, I'm like, I would read it and go, I literally have no idea what I just read. And I would feel so frustrated because I was like, I just read this whole chapter and I have no idea what it said. Have you ever done that? Like, if you're not a reading person and you have a hard time reading and comprehending, you get me. Like, you read it and you're like, I have no idea what I just read. But I kept telling myself, just keep reading. Just keep reading. Just stay consistent. And so I did. And there were some days that I can remember this one chapter that I read. I about died. It was a chapter where maybe it was Lot. I can't remember who it was. Y'all will probably tell me. But basically what happened was the daughter got her dad drunk and had sex with him to get pregnant. And I was like, what are you? Wait a minute. This went on in the Bible? And as I began to read this trashy book, I was like, this Bible is a train wreck. And I kept reading, and sometimes I would comprehend, and sometimes I would have no idea what I would read. But I kept being consistent. I did it. And let me just stop you. You know, I was the type of person that had a hard time getting up. So there were moments in the mornings that I was like, I literally can't get up and read this Bible this morning. And this is what I learned is God created my brain. He knows me better than you, better than me, better than Shane. He knows everything about what I think, about how many hairs are on my head. Like, he knows me. And I sat there, and this may seem silly, okay? But I was like, God, I can't do it today. Like, you created this brain. Like, don't be mad at me for not reading. Like, I just can't do it today. I just can't do it. And I felt like he understood me. And the days that I felt like I can't do it today, you know what I would do? I would be gentle on myself, and then the next day I would read the day before and the present day. Because I would be better the next day. And I realized that God created my brain, and he was understanding. Like, I don't think he was forcing me to read every day. He was like, Judy, when you can do it. I just felt like he was gentle to me. And that's what got me through, because sometimes when you fight depression and mental health, you're so hard on yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get up and you're like, I can't read the Bible today. I don't know why. And then you go into, I'm such a failure. I can't do this. And then you give up and you don't do it again. And then you sit there and feel guilty because you haven't spent quiet time with God, and you're just like so frustrated. Like, that was always me. But when I was gentle to myself and allowed myself to be Judy, and allowed myself to go, you know what? God created this brain. He gets me. He gets me. That is the moment that I was able to finish the whole entire Bible and read it all the way through before I was 50 years old. And I reached my goal. And when everything was said and done, I was like, with him on my side, I did it. I did it. And it was such an accomplishment. So as I began to fix my life, I was getting up in the mornings to read. And then I didn't like the way Shane did the chickens. I didn't like that he didn't feed and water them in the morning. And I was scared to death. They were starving to death. So I said, Shane, why don't you just let me do the chickens? You go to work, let me get up and do the chickens. He's like, you gonna get up and do the chickens. I said, I'm gonna get up and do the chickens. And from that day, that was in 2019. Today is 2024. And for that, how many years is that? 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 5 years. For 5 years, I have gotten up every single morning and done the chickens. And I realized that balancing my life, getting up, fasting my sleep, forced me into learning a routine of getting up in the morning. And I always wanted to be a morning person. But I wasn't a morning person. But I always desired, I always felt jealous of those people that got up and listened to the birds and bird watched and drank their cup of coffee in the quietness of their home. I so desired to be that person, and I really didn't think I could do it. I really didn't, but I did. And I did because I really believe it was nothing. I'm saying that I did, And I did, but I really feel like it was more of me pulling my strength from God and being gentle to myself and not beating myself up to go, okay, today I can't do it. It's okay. And when I was gentle to myself, the stress went off me and I was like, I can do this. I literally, I can do this. I can get up. Oh my gosh, I can get up. And the more that I did it, the more that I got in a routine and the more I started gaining confidence in myself because I didn't feel lazy. And I was so productive when I got up in the mornings because my husband is a morning person. In my previous marriage, me and my husband had total opposite routines. I went to bed at the crack of dawn, and my husband would stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning and have to go to work the next day. He would stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching movies on a work day. And I would go to bed at 6 o'clock. So we were total opposites, and it was causing a conflict in our marriage because we weren't on the same team. And I said, when I married Shane, I said, you know what? I'm going to get on his routine. Because I wanted to get up in the mornings, but I didn't have the strength to do it. But he gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, every single morning, 7 days a week. I mean, he jumps out of the bed. He don't go get a cup of coffee first. Shane gets out of the bed, brushes his teeth, and gets dressed, and goes in there and fixes a cup of coffee. And if he don't have to go to work, he gets on TikTok. Shane is a TikTok fan, and he gets on TikTok. And I said, I want to have a strong marriage. And I think in the past, not being on the same routine caused a problem in my marriage. And I said, I'm going to go to bed when Shane goes to bed, and I'm going to get up when Shane goes up. And Shane and I are on the same routine. And I will tell you that has built. I've been on both sides. I've been where we are not on the same page, and we are on the same page with routine of sleeping. And I will tell you, my marriage is a lot more successful being on the same routine than not. I will say that. And so I have gotten up every single day since 2019, and the chickens changed my life. And so I have a farm, and I go live on Monday and Wednesdays. Lately, I have been going live all the time. And I go live to tell my story and to let you know that if you fight mental health, that you have someone to hold your hand. And not that I know all the answers and that I am just brilliant at giving great advice or whatever. I just tell my story like it is. I'm very raw and very matter of fact, and I don't really hold back about situations that happen. I'm very honest and blunt and upfront because I don't know how to tell the story without telling you why I do the things that I do. So I tell you exactly what I go through in order to get to where I am today. So if you are the type of person that fights any kind of addiction, because addiction looks all different, or you're the type of person that can't get out of the bed in the morning, or you're the type of person that has no friends, or you're the type of person that fights mental health and can't afford copays or whatever, I want to tell you that you have landed on a safe place, because all are welcome. I do not judge anyone. I don't care what you believe. You don't have to believe the same things I believe. You don't have to you don't have to agree with me. But I can tell you, I can share my testimony to tell you how I got to where I am today. And that's what I do. I definitely go live on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 o'clock in the morning. You can always catch my replays. But if you want to catch me live and you want to get on a morning routine, if you come to my page, I always create an event for my lives, and we have a lot of people that get there before I do to chit chat, to encourage each other. I will promise you that no one on this page will ever be rude to you and judge you for the things that you do. That is not that. The people that follow me know that I would not put up with that. Even if someone is downright rude, we're not rude back. And I will put a stop to that in 0.2 seconds. Just because someone's rude to me or to you or whatever doesn't mean that we have to fire back and be rude. But please understand that we are human beings. We make mistakes. Sometimes we don't pause. So when someone fires off and says something ugly, we don't pause and think about it. We just fire off and act just like them. That is normal. That is normal. But here on my page, we try to learn to pause and not act like them, and to be kind and gentle, because sometimes when someone's ugly to you and you show kindness, you have no idea what the impact you make on that person. That person's probably struggling. So here we're kind. So I hope that you will join us on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You can go out to your YouTube channel where you hit subscribe and go to the bell and hit notifications for all. And you can get the notifications every time I go live. Sometimes I go live in my farm area, and sometimes I go live just right here putting on my makeup. Why do I put makeup in the morning? Why do I put makeup on in the morning when I go live if I'm not selling makeup? Because I'm weird, okay? It's just what I do. Majority of the time, I have tours. So what happened was, the only time I had time to go live was in the morning at 7 a.m. because I had buses or cars pulling in my driveway at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I just started doing this routine where I would get up and me and Diane and Tammy would go live at 7 a.m. And I just started talking and getting ready. And it's just what I do. And it has nothing to do with farm, but it's just who I am. And at the end of the day, I have to be myself. But just know that I'm not selling makeup. If you're looking for makeup tips, don't follow me. I'm a train wreck. Don't follow me doing makeup tips. I put on my makeup in 0.2 seconds and don't care. I just throw on some makeup because I have schools pulling in the driveway. So I don't need to look like who to thunk it when I have 100 kids here to do a field trip. So that's why I get ready in the mornings. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope that you'll stick around, and I hope that you'll join me Monday morning. Thank you. So I don't know what's up with my throat. Maybe my sinuses are draining, but I'm like, oh. But thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great weekend. And I always end each video with, you have choices in life. You can sit it out or you can dance, and you will learn to dance on my channel. And dancing doesn't mean physically dancing per se. Dancing means making a difference in your life and other people. See you later.